Hello, this is Katie. Welcome back to my channel. For Watercolor Wednesday, we're going to be creating this card that I made out of some watercolor I was doodling on a scrap piece of paper. So I want to show you, and it will be in real time. This is not sped up because I know that sometimes something can look easy, but sometimes it helps to see it actually done. I've just experienced that in all the learning that I've been doing with watercolor. I'm going to be using the largest wonky stitched stacks die from MFT to cut out the background. And then for the colors, I'm going to be using the deep phthalo green for the dark green. And then for this one, I actually mixed hooker's green with a little bit of sap green to kind of lighten it up. I wanted a contrast between the dark and the light greens. And then opera pink, and I have to fix my focusing here. Opera pink and cold pink, because opera pink was just a little too bright. I didn't use this palette when I did the first card that I just showed you. And then just the permanent violet for the purple. That'll be our splatters. And then for that one, I think I blended some brown into yellow ochre, but now I'm not sure. So I'm sorry, I can't remember which two I blended for that, but I just threw some brown into a yellowish color. And then I realized I wanted to add one more lighter kind of, not peachy, but maybe like, I don't know. To me, it's like peachy yellow. I don't know anything about colors, so don't quote me on that. And I wanted to mix a lighter one, so I'm just doing that here because I want to kind of have three different browns in the background of the wheat and to work with. So just mixing that up really quick. And then I'm going to put this away. This is the Mungyo, I think that's how you say it, 48 set. I've been watching a lot of florals from Shada Campbell, and every time she does a floral, she's using this set, at least in recent videos, so I had to get it, obviously. That is on Amazon. I'll link that set down below, just in case you want to see where it is, where you can get it. So I'm using this kind of long, skinny, I don't know what you would call this type of brush. It is a number 4. I also took out a number 2 of the same type of brush, but they're just like long, skinny bristles. And I didn't end up using the 2. I was going to, but I just kind of went with one brush for all of these. So basically, you're just going to work in layers and just press a little harder at the beginning, and not even that hard, and then just lighter towards the tip to kind of make a grass tip when you're doing the green shades. And this brush makes it very easy because it's already very skinny as it is. So it's kind of meant for things like that. And then for some of the wheat pieces, we're going to just create a few, just like the grass. But then on the ends of those, we're going to kind of create like a cone shape, so towards the top. And if I go over to the right, I'm just dabbing off some paint because I have too much in the brush. And we're just kind of dabbing dots to create the look of wheat. And we'll do this to however many you want to. And then later we're going to come back and give it some more depth as well with the same color. So once it dries, it's going to lighten, and then we're going to come back with the same color and layer on half of it and kind of make it look like it's in the sun, if that makes sense. So we will definitely come back and do that. We just want these to dry. So a lot of watercoloring that I've learned is kind of doing other stuff while you're waiting for other things to dry, and you kind of have to plan your picture or painting around letting other things dry. So it's kind of fun to figure out what to do now and what you're going to do later, stuff like that. And then to bring in some of the pink, which is just not natural. Like pink wheat isn't a thing. I suppose flowers could pop up, but I'm just kind of creating a wheat-like stalk or grassy type thing. I just liked the way the pink looked, and I think when I was playing around with the doodle that I created on the first card I did where I used pink, I think it's just what I had in my palette. I can't remember what I was doing, but I had a scrap piece of paper and I just wanted to do something on it and not waste it, and then I ended up doing that first card and turning it into a card. So the pink is unnatural, but nothing you paint has to make sense. That's the beauty of it. You can create flowers that don't exist, whatever you want. You can do that with card making. You can do it with anything. That's the fun of it. And I'm trying to create kind of long, skinny leaves with those. And it's best to just, swipe it and leave it alone and don't keep messing with it, or else it's going to look kind of funky. Some of my pink ones, you can see the top because I kept messing with it or added more paint. It already looks like a little darker at the top than on the rest of the blade of pink grass. So, I'm trying to think of things I can talk to you about because I didn't want to speed this up. I was going to do a voiceover regardless, but I didn't want to speed it up because I wanted you to see it done in real time. So now we're going to take the same color that we did the tip of the wheat with and just do the same motions that we did in the beginning, but only to half of it. Kind of just makes it look like it's in the shadows or the sun is on it. And you can do different sides. You can do, because they're kind of just flailing in the wind, different halves. It doesn't always have to be the left side or the right side. You can mix it up. But then it gives it that kind of look. And one of my favorite like floral bits to put into a bouquet or just to paint in general is kind of like lavender, which looks like this a little bit. You're kind of creating those dots around a stem, and then but you take that purple and you go over it when it dries and kind of add more depth to it, and it kind of does the same thing. You're not doing it on half of the lavender, but when you put it over top, it makes it look really cool. It's just one of my favorite floral pieces to watercolor. I don't know if any of you out there are Bob's Burgers fans, but the episode where, if I was a better YouTuber, I'd just insert a clip if I'm allowed. I don't even know. But the episode where Jimmy Pesto, or Jimmy Jr., sorry, does magic and Tina tries to give him some tips about what he's doing wrong because all he wants to do is dance. and he says, Tina, you've only been doing this for 1 day. I've been doing this for 9 days. That's how I feel giving watercolor tips, because it's ridiculous, because I just started playing with this stuff like a month ago, maybe longer. I don't know. So I just thought that was funny. That's what pops into my head whenever I don't know, try to give you watercolor tips, I guess. But I do consume a lot of YouTube tutorials. I actually saw how much data YouTube on my phone has used in the last month, and I don't even want to tell you because it's bad. I have unlimited data, but the number was very high. And most of that is watercolor learning. And so I learn whenever I have a moment because I can't get enough of it. And I've learned so many tips and absorbed all of it and purchased all of it. I just knocked you because I need to pause. I want to go get the palette and mix in some more green. So I'm fixing you. And then I paused. My dark green wasn't dark enough. It was actually kind of looking a little blue. If you look at where, like the green you can see, but the other green, it kind of looks like light blue to me, like a blue-green. So I'm just going to mix in more paint and not any more water so I can make it darker. That's all you have to do is just paint to water ratio for darker versus a lighter version of the same color. Just water it down if you want it lighter. So here I just added a lot more paint, and then the darker green is going to, you'll be able to see it a lot better now that I've added more paint. So I will do a few more of these. I think I end my little grass blades with some of the lightest yellow that I put in there. I think it's just Naples yellow, which is supposedly like a yellowy, a reddish yellow, but a very light. I'm fairly certain that's where Naples yellow comes from. I'm learning a lot about color as well. I'm not absorbing as much about like color and color theory and stuff like that, because honestly it's not super interesting to me. I just want to paint. But it's kind of, I think it's a yellow with red in it, essentially, is Naples yellow. But I will end on using some of that to paint some light blades. And here I had already gone over my little wheat, so I had to kind of go in between the blades there. And then I will do what I just talked about. So about the splattering that I do at the end, even seeing people who have made their job art, like Shada Campbell on YouTube, or lots of people, where this is their job and they do a lot of watercoloring, knowing that they like to splatter their paintings to make it look interesting just makes me feel so much better about art and wanting to splatter, like splatter dots, splatter all over my painting, because it's fun and it makes it look really interesting. Like, yes, we have the wheat and the grass and everything, but adding this purple splatter to it, although I did drop some right into the wet in the middle wheat, so it spread, but that's okay because it looks fine. And I am going to speed dry it with my heat gun. So the purple will get a little bit brighter. So it does look a little dark right now because I do have kind of a heavy paint to water ratio, more on the paint, because I wanted a dark purple. But when I dry it, and this is real time drying, so it takes me this long to make sure I find each wet dot because I don't want to smear any of it. And dry it. When it dries, it lightens the purple a little bit so you can see dark purple and it doesn't look like a black dot anymore. But I just enjoy sometimes adding splatter to mostly floral stuff. And I just love knowing that real artists, I will call them because it is their job, not only add splatter to their paintings, but they also use heat guns to dry things faster because they are impatient like I am. So if you think that watercolor is unapproachable or difficult or any of that, and please don't take me as an example when it comes to buying too many supplies because you do not need that many. I just know that a lot of us have problems and love to collect instead. Just know that it's completely approachable and it's very easy to learn. And I just cut that out with magic. And the real artists also do the things that you want to do or that you feel might be unprofessional or look unprofessional. From the My Favorite Things Birthdays Take the Cake, I'm just using one of the birthday sentiments. And I'm going to stamp it a couple times on here to deepen it because I am stamping over a lot of paint and splatter and I want to make sure you can still read it. And there are a lot of watercolor people on YouTube. They do other stuff, but a lot of people are mostly watercolor between like watercolor or acrylic or gouache, which is kind of like watercolor acrylic. or oil painting. I don't watch a lot of people that do oil painting because I'm just not interested in it. I only want to deal in watercolors. I don't even want to deal with gouache. So, but the people that do that, they also make greeting cards sometimes too out of them, which is really interesting. So there's kind of a crossover. They're not really a card maker, but they know that painting something about that size could be turned into a greeting card or some sort of card. So it's very interesting to see kind of the crossover between watercolor artists and card makers. And then there are a lot of card makers who do a lot of watercoloring as well. So there is my sentiment. And I'm going to put my tape runner, I'm going to run it on the base, the card base, instead of flipping over my image and possibly, I don't know, not 100% sure if everything is dry. You're going to watch my tape gun run out of tape, which is obnoxious and always seems to happen on camera. I was trying to give it as many layers as I could, or many X's as I could, so that this sticks down really well. Because I did warp it a little when I used the heat gun. So I just wanted to make sure it was flat. But my tape gun had other plans, so I just left it as is. And then I will stick this down. And I'll compare it to the other one that I did. And that will finish that off. So hopefully you learned something. Hopefully my gibberish made sense. And if you have any questions about watercoloring or anything, you can always reach out to me or ask me anything you want about whatever. I'll leave my Instagram down below. You can message me there. You can comment here, whatever you want. So I will see you guys next time, and thank you for watching. Bye.